Acres of Diamonds Introduction. Russell Conwell was more than just a preacher. He was a visionary leader, educator, and philanthropist who left behind a message that continues to inspire generations. His famous lecture, Acres of Diamonds, was delivered more than 6,000 times across the United States before it was finally published as a book. What began as a single speech became one of the most enduring success messages of the 19th and early 20th centuries. Conwell's purpose was not only to uplift people spiritually, but also to show them that material prosperity and moral integrity could coexist, and that wealth was not reserved for a select few, but was within reach for anyone willing to see and cultivate it. The heart of Conwell's message is strikingly simple, yet profoundly relevant. You do not need to travel to distant lands or chase after faraway dreams to find success. Instead, the resources, opportunities, and riches you seek are already present in your own environment, profession, and daily life. Even today, in an age of globalization and digital expansion, his insight holds true. We often look outward for fulfillment or financial breakthroughs, overlooking the immense possibilities around us. Conwell's words remind us to stop searching elsewhere and recognize the acres of diamonds waiting within our own grasp. The story of Ali Hafed, a warning against blind pursuits. At the center of Acres of Diamonds lies the unforgettable parable of Ali Hafed, a story Russell Conwell used to illustrate the dangers of chasing distant dreams while ignoring opportunities at home. Ali Hafed was a prosperous Persian farmer, living comfortably on his land with his family. He had orchards, fields, and a modest but satisfying life. One day, however, a visiting priest told him about the value of diamonds. The priest described how owning a diamond mine could bring unimaginable wealth, influence, and power. For Ali Hafed, this was the beginning of discontent. Though he had previously been grateful for his blessings, the idea of acquiring diamonds consumed him. Unable to resist this vision of riches, Ali Hafed sold his farm, left his family, and began an exhausting quest to find diamonds. He traveled through faraway lands, searching in rivers, mountains, and deserts. He went from one place to another, convinced that wealth was just around the corner. But despite all his sacrifices, he found nothing. His money ran out, his hope diminished, and ultimately, he died alone and destitute, far from the land he once called home. His quest for fortune ended not in abundance, but in ruin, leaving behind a tragic lesson about misplaced ambition. The story does not end with Ali Hafed's downfall. The man who purchased his farm noticed something unusual while watering the animals. In the shallow stream that ran through the land, he discovered bright, shining stones. These turned out to be diamonds, an entire mine of them, lying beneath the very soil Ali Hafed had abandoned. What Ali Hafed had sought in distant lands was buried right where he had begun. The farm he sold in pursuit of wealth was, in fact, one of the richest diamond mines in the world. Conwell used this parable to drive home the central moral. Wealth and opportunity often lie exactly where we are. The tragedy of Ali Hafed is not simply his death in poverty, but his blindness to the riches within his reach. He could have discovered those diamonds had he only dug into his own soil and explored the potential of his own land. Instead, by assuming that fortune must be elsewhere, he overlooked the treasure beneath his feet. This tale continues to resonate because it mirrors human nature. Many people leave their communities, abandon their talents, or disregard their professions in search of success elsewhere. They believe that happiness and prosperity are to be found in another city, another job, or another circumstance. Yet, as Conwell insists, Most people already stand on acres of diamonds. They simply lack the vision to see them. The story of Ali Hafed is a timeless warning against blind pursuits and a call to appreciate the hidden value where we already are. The moral value of wealth. One of the most powerful aspects of Russell Conwell's Acres of Diamonds is his unapologetic defense of wealth and prosperity. At a time when many people believed that the pursuit of money was inherently corrupt or unspiritual, Conwell boldly challenged the notion that riches and morality were incompatible. He argued that money in itself is not evil. It is merely a tool, a neutral force that takes on the character of the person who possesses it. If a dishonest individual gains wealth, it may be used destructively. But in the hands of a person with integrity, wealth becomes a source of progress, opportunity, and generosity. Conwell's position was clear. Poverty was not a virtue to be glorified, nor was prosperity to be demonized. Instead, wealth should be recognized for what it truly is, a powerful resource capable of doing immense good. Conwell emphasized that money is essential for advancing society. He reminded his audiences that churches are built with money, schools are sustained by money, hospitals are funded by money, and social reforms require money. Good intentions alone cannot feed the hungry, educate children, or provide shelter to the homeless. Without financial resources, even the noblest dreams remain ideas rather than realities. For this reason, Conwell believed it was not only acceptable, but also necessary for good people to pursue prosperity. To him, refusing to engage in wealth creation meant limiting one's capacity to help others. He also addressed the hypocrisy he often saw in his time. Many would say, "I do not care about money," yet those same people would work long hours for wages, complain when underpaid, or depend daily on financial resources for survival. Conwell insisted that denying the importance of money was dishonest. Instead of pretending to despise wealth, people should admit its value and learn to pursue it honorably. By doing so, they could provide not only for themselves and their families, but also for their communities. Most importantly, Conwell believed that the pursuit of wealth was a moral duty for good people. If dishonest individuals work tirelessly to acquire riches, while honest and compassionate people shy away from financial success, society ultimately suffers. Wealth will end up concentrated in the hands of the corrupt, while those with integrity remain powerless to influence positive change. In Conwell's eyes, good people had an obligation to seek prosperity, so they could wield influence responsibly and shape a better world. Through this defense of wealth, Conwell redefined prosperity as a moral pursuit. He reminded his audience that seeking financial success was not about selfish accumulation, but about creating opportunities to uplift others. Wealth, earned with integrity, empowers generosity and magnifies impact. For Conwell, prosperity was not greed. It was stewardship, responsibility, and a force for good when guided by virtue. Recognizing opportunities in your own surroundings. Russell Conwell's central message in Acres of Diamonds is that the greatest opportunities are not in some distant land, but within the very environment where we live and work. He argued that people often miss the wealth around them because they assume success must be tied to new locations, unfamiliar industries, or radical changes. Yet in reality, the path to prosperity frequently lies in one's own community, profession, or set of experiences. Conwell insisted that nearly every city, town, or neighborhood is full of unmet needs and hidden potential, waiting for someone with vision to recognize and act upon them. Instead of chasing dreams abroad, the wise person learns to look closely at the familiar soil beneath their feet. One of the main reasons people overlook nearby opportunities is discontent. Like Ali Hafed, They believe riches and fulfillment exist elsewhere. They assume their current situation holds little promise, and that wealth must be tied to glamorous ventures or faraway places. This mindset blinds them to possibilities that could be cultivated right where they are. Conwell explained that dissatisfaction often comes not from a lack of opportunity, but from a lack of perspective. When people undervalue their surroundings, they fail to see the diamonds lying scattered around them. Conwell also observed that habit and familiarity dull our vision. When we grow too accustomed to our own routines, jobs, or communities, we stop questioning what could be improved. Needs that remain unmet seem invisible because we have lived alongside them for so long. For example, a small-town shopkeeper might assume there is nothing new to offer their neighbors, when in fact the community may be eager for better services, improved products, or creative solutions. Outsiders who enter with fresh eyes often spot these opportunities instantly, while locals miss them. Conwell's lesson was clear. The ability to see value in the ordinary is what separates those who prosper from those who remain stagnant. Developing this vision requires deliberate effort. Conwell urged people to study their environment closely and ask practical questions. What problems do people face daily? What services are lacking? What talents or resources do I already have that could meet these needs? Instead of longing for what lies beyond, he encouraged individuals to sharpen their awareness of the present. Opportunities rarely announce themselves with clarity. They are disguised as small inconveniences, unmet demands, or overlooked ideas. By cultivating curiosity and attentiveness, a person can begin to recognize the diamonds hidden in plain sight. Ultimately, Conwell's teaching on recognizing opportunities is a call to shift perspective. Wealth is not always about discovering something entirely new, but about seeing the existing world differently. By valuing our own communities, re-examining our professions, and learning to identify the hidden potential around us, we begin to realize that the acres of diamonds we seek are often already in our possession. The tools for cultivating your acres of diamonds. Russell Conwell did not stop at simply telling his audiences that wealth and opportunity were within their reach. He also outlined the tools needed to uncover and cultivate those acres of diamonds. His message was not about luck or chance, but about equipping oneself with practical habits and principles that turn potential into prosperity. He emphasized 4 essential tools: education, diligence, service, and integrity, each of which works together to form the foundation of lasting success. Conwell placed great importance on education and continuous learning. To him, knowledge was the lens that revealed hidden opportunities. Without education, people might stand in the middle of a diamond mine and fail to recognize its worth. Importantly, Conwell's idea of education went beyond formal schooling. It included curiosity, practical skill building, and lifelong learning. He urged individuals to study their profession deeply, understand the needs of their communities, and constantly improve themselves. Education sharpened both the mind and the eye, enabling a person to see possibilities others ignored. This belief inspired him to found Temple University, so ordinary working-class people could access affordable education and discover their own potential. Alongside education, Conwell stressed hard work and diligence. Opportunities are abundant, but they rarely reward the lazy or careless. Just as diamonds must be mined and polished, success requires consistent effort, discipline, and resilience. Conwell warned against waiting for quick fortunes or overnight results, reminding his audiences that true prosperity is the product of perseverance. Those willing to work diligently, even when the task seems ordinary or unglamorous, are the ones who eventually uncover value. Hard work transforms ideas into results and turns overlooked soil into a field of riches. Service was another cornerstone of Conwell's philosophy. He argued that wealth is not achieved by chasing money directly, but by meeting the needs of others. The person who identifies and solves problems for their community naturally attracts financial reward. Conwell often repeated that the more people you serve, the more wealth you create. This principle reframes prosperity as a byproduct of usefulness. Instead of asking, "How can I make money?" Conwell encouraged asking, "How can I help others in ways that matter?" By orienting one's work around service, financial success follows as a natural consequence. Finally, Conwell insisted on integrity and honesty in the pursuit of wealth. To him, prosperity gained through deception, exploitation, or immorality was not true success. While dishonesty might bring temporary gain, it corrodes character and collapses in the long run. Lasting wealth must be built on trust, fairness, and moral principle. Integrity ensures that success uplifts rather than destroys, benefiting not only the individual but also their community. By combining education, diligence, service, and integrity, Conwell presented a practical roadmap for cultivating one's own acres of diamonds. These tools transform ordinary people into extraordinary contributors, allowing them to uncover the treasures hidden in their lives and use them for both personal advancement and the greater good. Ordinary people, extraordinary success. Russell Conwell devoted much of Acres of Diamonds to showing that wealth and prosperity are not reserved for the privileged few, but are available to ordinary men and women who recognize and act upon the opportunities around them. He believed that greatness often emerges from the most common places and professions, and that extraordinary success is less about one's background or circumstances and more about mindset and action. To prove this, he drew upon numerous examples of individuals who began with little but rose to prominence by applying the very principles he taught. Conwell often spoke of entrepreneurs who started out as clerks, mechanics, or farmers, people whose work might have seemed unremarkable. Yet, by noticing small needs in their communities and responding with diligence, they built thriving businesses and accumulated wealth. These examples served to shatter the illusion that prosperity was linked only to glamorous industries or inherited privilege. He reminded his audiences that some of the most successful merchants and industrialists of his day had no extraordinary talents beyond persistence, creativity, and the ability to recognize opportunities close to home. Their achievements demonstrated that success does not demand a rare gift, but a willingness to work intelligently and consistently. Another point Conwell emphasized was that no profession is too small or too modest to yield riches. He encouraged his listeners not to despise their work or assume it offered no future. A farmer, teacher, shopkeeper, or craftsman could all uncover their own acres of diamonds if they approached their trade with imagination and dedication. Instead of abandoning a career in search of something more impressive, Conwell urged people to dig deeper into the soil they already occupied. By improving methods, serving customers better, or spotting inefficiencies, even the simplest jobs could become gateways to prosperity. He believed wealth was not in the type of work, but in the attitude brought to it. This is why mindset was, in Conwell's philosophy, far more important than circumstance. External conditions, where one lived, how much capital one began with, or what profession one entered, mattered less than the ability to think resourcefully and act persistently. Two people in the same situation might see entirely different outcomes. One would complain about limitations, while the other would identify possibilities and pursue them. For Conwell, success was the natural result of vision, diligence, and perseverance applied to ordinary life. The lesson is that extraordinary success is not confined to a chosen few, but is accessible to anyone willing to see differently, think creatively, and act persistently. Conwell's insistence that ordinary people could achieve great things transformed acres of diamonds into a timeless reminder that wealth is not about where you start, but how you cultivate what you already have. Conclusion: Russell Conwell's Acres of Diamonds ends with a powerful reminder drawn from the tragic mistake of Ali Hafed. The farmer abandoned his land in search of riches elsewhere, only to die poor, while the very soil he left behind held one of the richest diamond mines in the world. Conwell's call is clear. Do not repeat Ali Hafed's error. Instead of looking far away for opportunities, cultivate the ground beneath your feet. For within your own surroundings lie the resources and possibilities to achieve success. Conwell urged his audiences to recognize that true wealth does not require a change of location, but a change of perspective. By valuing education, working diligently, serving others, and maintaining integrity, anyone can uncover treasures where they already are. His message was not about chasing quick riches, but about steady cultivation of one's abilities, profession, and community. Applied today, his lessons remain deeply relevant. In a world driven by constant comparison and endless distraction, Conwell's philosophy challenges us to slow down, look inward, and identify the overlooked opportunities around us. By digging in our own soil, we not only achieve personal prosperity, but also generate positive impact, building stronger families, communities, and societies.